In 2011, President Barack Obama called the U.S. to action in his State of the Union address. He stated that this was our generation's Sputnik moment. Obama wanted to drastically improve our technological innovation in order to stay competitive with other countries. Well, now STEM is a household name in the education world. But as we know, the pendulum is constantly swinging in educational practices. So, in the early 2000s, when technology started booming, educators began to shift their focus towards STEM practices. We can clearly see a need for this shift if we look at our most recent PISA rankings. The US ranked 38th out of 71 countries in math and 24th in science. Well, now our country is in between STEM versus STEAM. John Maida, who's the former president of the Rhode Island School of Design, led the STEM to STEAM movement. The reasoning for adding A, which is the arts, was because design thinking and creativity are essential for continued innovation. This proposed change has led to a major debate throughout our whole country, though. STEM supporters say that STEM gives attention to skills and subjects that are really lacking in American education, whereas STEAM supporters say that STEM led to decreased funding in art programs, which led to decreased disengagement within our students. Either way, STEAM is very vital to the progression of our country. Our current state and country standards that we use to create our curriculum and instruction for our students are not STEAM driven. So if your school is not STEAM driven, then it's pretty difficult to incorporate STEAM fully into your classroom. While there are schools that are STEAM centered and schools that are headed that way, we know that if you don't have the complete support of your administration or schedule flexibility, common planning, and everybody on board, then the STEAM program is not going to be successful for very long. For me, I am a second year teacher, so I definitely don't have it all together yet, and I'm still learning, but I'm trying to start implementing STEAM practices into my classroom. I have a long way to go, but I'm hoping that each year I can incorporate more and more. I'm a fourth grade math and science teacher, and my school is not STEAM driven. However, my students do have the opportunity to go to a science lab once a week for about 50 minutes. In this special, they are able to work collaboratively with their teammates and develop solutions to real world problems. They get great exposure to STEAM practices in this class, but it's only once a week. So they're not getting everything that they can. For me, I'm trying to incorporate more STEAM, and I'm doing this by beginning to common plan with the other fourth grade math and science teacher so that we can both incorporate at the same time so our students are getting the same thing. And I'm trying to implement more project-based learning within my units. For example, my students have a weather unit in which they are required to read a weather map and predict the weather. So we turn this into a STEAM activity by giving them current weather patterns and current weather maps. And then the students work together with their team to try and predict what the weather is going to be the next day. They look at the forecast, what's happened the past couple days, different fronts that are moving in, etc. This is lots of problem solving and critical thinking. And for us, our students haven't had much exposure to STEAM, so it's been a little difficult since we are basically ground zero starting their training in STEAM education per se. I'm trying to give students more problem-based learning where we give a real-world problem and they come up with solutions to solve the problem. However, it's definitely not a perfect system yet. But we can see in our country that our leadership does support STEAM. In November of 2019, President Trump gave a directive that was fostering the expansion of opportunities for in-demand careers. Now, this led to the U.S. Board of Education allotting nearly $540 million in STEAM support. This more than doubled the allotment that was given in 2018. So we can see that we are moving more towards a STEAM-centered society. For me, I teach in Georgia, and there are several programs that allow students the opportunity to come and experience STEAM in a different way. For example, Six Flags does physics days, where students can go behind the scenes of the rides and see the physics and the mechanics that go into really allowing a roller coaster to go from beginning to end safely. And then we also have a program that our students take field trips to. It's called Alachi, and they are able to go and they're given real world problems and they have to work together to develop the solution. They look at different habitats, different water samples, all things that correlate with our science standards. And they use their math skills also in order to create a solution and have our environment basically work better cohesively. These are great opportunities for our students, but again, we're not all there yet, and we still have a long way to go, but we are moving in the correct direction.